Hey class, welcome to Abroad Sex Education, where we discuss everything you wish you learned in school. I'm your host and lecturer on libido, Sin. And today, my co-host and student for this episode is a recurring guest, Brooklyn.
Yay, valedictorian's back.
Yeah! Welcome to your second semester / season.
Thank you. Y'all thought I was going to fail, and I'm still here.
No one thought you were going to fail.
No, there were haters out there. I know it.
I don't believe it. I think you're very beloved.
Thank you.
This podcast is a sex education resource intended for an adult audience. We'll be having real, inclusive conversations about sexuality, pleasure, relationships, gender, identity, and more. Some topics may be considered explicit or sensitive. Our goal is to break the stigma and provide the kind of sex education many of us never got. We're learning too, and we're bringing what we learned straight to the classroom so we can all grow together. You deserve to know what this is about so you can make an informed choice to listen. Or not. That's what consent looks like, even here. Just as a heads up, me and Brooklyn are both sick. So
Yes.
we're going to try to cut out all the coughing and all the
Yeah.
But if we slip it in there, it's just because we're under the weather. But lucky for you, this class is virtual, so.
That's how committed I am to this course.
Yeah.
I came sick.
Yeah. All right. Today's episode is Libido, Desire, and Attraction Explained. Before we dive into this, do you think that these three things get mixed up a lot? What's your experience with these three words?
I could see libido and desire being mixed up and interchanged. I would say attraction and the other two maybe are separate. Mm-hmm. I would think libido is like sex drive. Attraction is like, do you find that person attractive? Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think, okay, here's my brand new definition that I just came up with while thinking about it. So like attraction, you can be attracted to somebody sometimes like in pictures or on film, but then you see them in person and you're like, oh, like I got the ick, not attracted. And then desire can like come and go based on their mannerisms or their smell, their like scent, and the way that they behave and act. So like even if they're really confident and maybe at first you're not like, oh, I'm super attracted to this person physically, maybe their charisma and the way that they carry themselves is enough to create that desire and then leads to attraction as well. That is my made up definition of those three.
Okay. Well, we're definitely going to get into them so you'll learn more here. I think people know what libido is. I think libido gets talked about a lot now, but also I'm in very specific circles, so maybe it's just me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think libido is an everyday term that people talk about, as well as attraction. I've never heard a casual conversation my friends use desire.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think most people usually, oh, I'm attracted to this person.
Yeah.
Or like, I have a high or low libido, but I desire that.
Yeah, or like your libidos are mismatched. And yeah.
So in today's lesson, we're going to have English, where we're going to learn about what's the difference between libido, desire, and sexual attraction. So it's just definitions there. And then we're going to go into psychology, which is going to be the many shapes of wanting sex. Then we're going to go into health, and it's going to be what your body has to do with wanting sex. And then sociology, the ridiculous social rules behind sexual desire. After all of these, we're going to go into our quiz, where we're doing a little different this time. The quiz is going to be based off the lesson itself. It's not going to be a subject with questions where you don't even know, but this will be something you should have the answers to. So
no pressure.
No pressure.
I am valedictorian.
Yeah. All right. So English. People think these words mean the same thing, but they really don't. But the reason why I thought it was really important to distinguish the difference between them is because people use them interchangeably. The way that we use our words has an impact, of course. And I think that with sex being a topic that already has a negative and shameful connotation to it, talking about desire, attraction, and libido can sometimes, for some people, have that same connotation. And I think discussing it is really important. And sometimes people, especially like when it comes to libido, when people think they have like a low libido, they're like, oh, something's wrong with me because I don't want to have sex. But there's more to it than that. which we'll learn more about in our psychology section.
I also think there's an incorrect societal expectation that like men have a higher libido than women, because I think we've excused men's behaviors like, oh, they can't help it, they're just horny. And I think actually a lot of men maybe are surprised by how high of a libido a lot of women have.
Oh, you're gonna love the sociology section.
I can't wait.
Yeah. All right, so let's go into the definitions for each one. So libido is the feeling of wanting sex. It's the biological urge. It's just the feeling, like very, very basic instinct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's just the feeling of wanting to have sex.
Okay.
And then desire is the wanting to have sex given the context. Sexual attraction is when the desire is directed towards someone. So that's the difference.
Wait, so desire,
It's just the want to have sex. It's not
regardless of the person?
right. It's just like libido is internal, and then desire is the want to have sex.
Okay.
And I've included it here, even though we didn't mention it in the beginning, but arousal is the physiological response to the sexual stimuli.
Yeah.
So why do we confuse them? I think a lot of the time media depicts libido and desire and attraction all as the same thing. Media primarily shows desire and attraction as one, which I understand given the fact that its desire is the want to have versus it being directed towards someone. Another thing that's really important is there's also a social belief that there's only one normal way to want sex, and which we'll see in the psychology lesson, that's not true. There's a lot of ways to know you want sex. I know in the psychology section, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about because you read the Come As You Are book. So this is why you're valedictorian. You're already ahead of the class.
Yes. I love that. That's my title now.
Valedictorian.
I need like a shirt.
Yeah.
I need one of those like, what are those banner thingies that I've never worn at graduation?
Sash.
Yeah, like a sash.
The stole.
Yes, the
Yeah.
stole that says valedictorian.
Yeah.
Oh my God, love it. Okay,
Future merch coming soon.
I want to wear it when I marry you.
That's gonna be your exclusive sticker that I'll make you.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Oh,
I'm valedictorian.
I'm so
At a
excited.
broad sex education. Okay. To take it even further, most people think it's, like you mentioned earlier, socially acceptable for only men to want sex. Like they're the only ones that, because they have a high libido, it's natural for them to want sex, right? The thing that bugs me is low libido becomes like a catch-all phrase. We use that as a way to define a person rather than to define their experience. Just because they're not turned on in that moment. Oh, I have a low libido. I have a low libido. But we know there could be a lot of other factors of why they're not interested in having sex.
Well, and I always, having no expertise in the area, I always say that like if a relationship's sex life is like in the shit, or it's either they're not having sex or it's decreased significantly, that's always to me a symptom of something else that's more seriously wrong in a relationship. So I think that would be just another example of that.
Right. I always thought that too. In the one relationship I was in where we stopped having sex frequently, it was just like, I just also hated him. Like you just, you're just like, oh, this person.
You're like, I have a low libido because I hate you.
Yeah. But really it was, I have a low desire.
Yes.
Because
For
I
you
hate you.
specifically. Because I hate you. Yeah.
I remember when there was one time we fought and he was like, do you understand? Because you know how we were open. It was my ex that I was like open. He was like, you don't even understand. He's like, all these girls tell me that I'm attractive and then they want to be with me, but I don't sleep with them because I'm with you. I was like, wow, you're doing the bare minimum of a relationship. And our thing was like, we're not going to sleep with other people unless we like talk about it first. But he was just like, yeah, all these other people that are attracted to me. I was like, oh, great. I'm glad someone's attracted to you. Like the way that you're acting.
And also, I highly doubt that like so many women are just like pouncing on you out of nowhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, go be with them. So like I mentioned, we like to blame people rather than consider their entire experience. And the reason that we do that is because this has nothing to do with sexuality. This is just a fun psychology thing, is our brains are dumb And we like to come up with the easiest solves to things, which is why critical thinking is very, very important, because it gives you the ability to consider other perspectives. But people rarely take the time to consider those factors because it's just easier to blame people. And I hope this episode helps prevent that.
Yeah.
So let's go into psychology and take a look at the different types of desire. You know these. So some people are always like, not now, I'm not in the mood. But there's a reason for this. Desire is not a constant internal urge for everyone. It often shows up after safety, connection, or stimulation. But there are two different types of desire that can show up in different ways for everyone. The first one is spontaneous desire. This one is the one that's the social default. This is the one pretty much everyone knows. This is the craving to have sex without any external prompting. It's usually triggered by internal thoughts, fantasies, or just the general feeling of being turned on. And this happens before having sex. And then the other one is responsive desire. This emerges as a response to sensual or sexual stimuli. It's triggered by external stimulus, and arousal and desire happen after the intimacy builds. So, people interpret responsive desire as low libido when it's not. But it is important to note that you don't just have one or the other. People can have both at different times in different situations. So it can change. These are patterns, not identities. But again, these can change given the context. A spontaneous desire in women could be like, oh, you're ovulating, you know?
Right, yeah.
And that just makes you horned up and ready to go.
Right. Sometimes you're at the gym and you're like, really? That guy?
Yeah.
All right.
And then or like a new relationship when you're just like, oh, like ready to go every time because you're with someone new.
Right. And you don't see each other that often. So you're like, the second I do this, we should just have sex all the time.
Right. And then like responsive desire, situations where that happen can be like high stressful situations, long-term relationships. So those usually just take more time. And there's nothing wrong with having a responsive desire moment because you don't have to be turned on all the time.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah, I imagine it would be inconvenient to be spontaneous desire all the time, like when you're trying to get work done and things.
When you read about this in the Come As You Are, the Emily Nagoski book, what were your thoughts when you read it through the first time?
I mean, I feel like I didn't consider the responsive desire to be low libido at all. Like I consider, because I'm somebody that like sees lack of sex as a symptom of other things that are wrong in a relationship, and because like that whole thing of like needing trust and to feel safe and secure, to me, they kind of go hand in hand. That like the responsive desire feels more like common, I guess, to me. So it's like that phrase of like the foreplay never ends. So like if you're putting an effort and you're being kind to the person throughout the day, then you're going to get spontaneous desire, but it's not really spontaneous desire. It's actually more responsive because you've been a good partner throughout the day doing other things. So then like they appreciate you, they feel safe and find you attractive. So to me, I always thought they were much closer linked than what I read in the book.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the next slide that, like you said, context matters. Desire is sensitive to stress, power dynamics, safety, and privacy. The mental load, resentment, and exhaustion all suppress desire. One of my favorite sociology books that I've read is called How Not to Hate Your Husband After Having a Baby. And that book just made me hate every husband.
On your behalf, mothers.
Yeah, on all mothers' behalf that, aren't pulling their weight. And it was just talking about, I think it's gone much more aware of like how much dads don't know about their kids or like how much they are involved. So like when your wife has a baby and she doesn't want to sleep with you, or like you have a toddler and she doesn't want to sleep with you and you're pissed because she doesn't want to sleep with you, it's probably because there's a lot of mental load and resentment and exhaustion because she's taking care of everything.
Yeah, I feel like the one that is like really standing out to me is the resentment one, because I think that's also one of the Gottman's four horsemen, isn't it? So I can see how that would really destroy a relationship. And I feel like if one partner is not stepping up to relieve some of that, then the resentment just builds and builds, and that's so destructive.
Yeah. Another thing about that same ex, I remember there was one.
Speaking of resentment.
There was one time he already just annoyed the shit out of me. Like there was one time we were at IKEA and he was just acting a fool. And I was just like, I remember being like, I hate him.
Yeah.
Like I hate him so much. He's so fucking annoying. Why am I with this man? Like he's so annoying. But then like still stayed with him. Even though I knew the Gottmans, 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, I was like, oh, maybe things will change. But oh my God.
I do wonder about like, do people come back from that? Because I cannot imagine at the times I've been at that point in a relationship, I cannot imagine turning it around to be back to a loving, healthy relationship.
Being in a relationship where there was contempt, I don't think I could have gone back because it was like, it wasn't just like contempt because like I was frustrated in the situation. It was just like everything about this person pisses me off.
Right.
And so like, it's hard to get past that.
Yeah.
Feeling chosen, respected, and emotionally safe increases desire. Those things are very important.
Yeah. I can't imagine anybody not thinking that's important, men and women. Like, like feeling chosen. If you don't feel that, I cannot imagine you're going to ever feel emotionally safe or anything else.
Right. And then I know this is the psychology section, and I know you brought it up earlier, but I was considering including the scent study in this section about attraction.
Which study?
The scent study, where it's like people sweating and then smelling the shirts, but I didn't want to include it because I thought the study was limiting to only cisgender, straight, cisgender, heteronormative people, and it doesn't really consider like how attraction works for homosexual people. And in that study, they frame it towards reproductive compatibility.
Right.
So it was more of like, oh, you are attracted to a person's smell because your brain is basically telling you, you find this is a good reproductive match.
Right.
Which is great, but as someone that does, I'm going to do an episode on reproduction and pregnancy, but I don't want people to think that sex just equals baby.
It equals fun.
Yeah.
Baby equals sad.
Yeah.
That's the math section.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
There you go. All right. Next is health. So the reason I wanted to add health is because I think there's a lot of things that your body also has to do with wanting sex. Yeah. So what does your body want to do with having sex? So of course, we got to talk about hormones. Hormones really just affect everyone, not just women. It affects everyone. So testosterone is usually often linked with libido across all genders. It influences sexual interest and motivation, but it doesn't create a constant desire like people think. Just because you have high testosterone doesn't mean you have high libido, because context still matters. Like you could have high testosterone but be stressed as fuck and not want to do anything because you have so much going on in your life, you know?
Is it true that there is a link between high testosterone and likelihood of cheating?
I don't think so.
Good.
I don't think so. One, I don't know how that could be studied. And two,
That's true.
like, I think family life and like what you see at home or like the social world would affect that more. Like, because it's like your social perception on what you find acceptable for cheating and not.
Oh, that's such a good answer. Yeah. I like that. I'm not going to add anything because I like it.
Again, this isn't me researching it. This is just based on my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point.
Testosterone doesn't override stress or lack of safety or context. All of those things are still very important and still will affect a person's sexual response. Estrogen influences mood, comfort, and bodily sensitivity. It fluctuates across cycles, life changes, and health changes.
I hate estrogen
Why?
because it causes my migraines.
Is it estrogen or progesterone?
Estrogen,
Why?
because it is linked to histamines, and so they drive each other out.
Oh. Estrogen's not that bad.
She's a bitch.
Influence bodily sensitivity, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why I would always get migraines when I would get birth control. That's another thing I'm going to talk about in the birth control episodes. Like, because when I started going back on the ring, just like the first like week, I was immediately getting migraines again.
Yeah.
That's why I like had to completely stop birth control. It just would give me such terrible migraines.
Yeah, they'd give me like progesterone only, but fucking shitty.
Well, estrogen can also affect how desire feels, not whether you're supposed to want sex.
What?
It affects how desire feels. Estrogen can influence sensitivity to touch, vaginal discomfort or dryness, mood and emotional openness, energy levels, how easily pleasure registers, and how reachable desire feels. So desire may feel softer or sharper, easier or harder to access, more physical or more emotional, or more present or more distant.
Interesting.
The other hormone is dopamine. So dopamine spikes when something is new, so during novelty. So any new experiences, like we said, when you get a new partner, it gets exciting, so you want to sleep with them more. It also spikes when something is exciting, uncertain, or rewarding to anticipate. This explains why new relationships is energizing, but it can also explain why desire changes over time. It doesn't disappear, it just slowly dwindles.
Especially once you get like the choreography the same every time versus like if you're changing it up.
Hormones affect what your body can do, not what your body owes anyone. So you don't owe people shit just because you are hormonal.
Yeah. Well, and technically, wouldn't everyone be hormonal?
Everyone's hormonal.
Because they all have hormones.
The other thing that's important for health is going to be stress. Stress is obviously such a big factor to your libido, your desire, not so much your attraction. I mean, maybe if you're so stressed out that you're not attracted to your partner, that makes sense. But, or if you're so stressed because you hate your partner so much. Saying from experience. But obviously, negative stress suppresses desire. It's the most reliable libido suppressor that we know of.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like doctors are always like, stress will kill you. It's so bad for you. And I'm like, this is alarming. This is worse than any other news I've heard about stress.
There's also two different types of stress. There's de-stress, which most people know is like negative stress. But then there's eustress. So it's like things that are stressful, but they're positive.
Like working out.
Sure. I think of it more of like, oh, when you're going to a vacation to a new place you've never been, or it's like something that
Like
is
excitement.
like, yeah, it's like an excitement thing, but it's still like a very stressful experience, you know. But negative stress is the thing that
so horny.
yeah. And obviously, when you are stressed, your body is in survival mode. So that's why you can't get horny.
Like fight or flight.
Stress activates your nervous system, your survival system. Your body is going to prioritize safety, focus, and energy conservation. But with desire, the things that you need are spare energy, mental space, and a calm nervous system. So because you don't have those things, obviously, it's going to make it harder to want to have sex during a stressful situation.
I feel like this is very informative, and like I want to put in for a disability if I am stressed because I feel like this needs to be brought to the medical forefront. This is not acceptable. We are not living in an acceptable world right now because we're killing the horny. And that would bring dopamine to make people happy.
That's why we need to make America sexy again.
Yeah, with consenting adults,
Yes,
please.
yeah. Adults.
Yeah.
Adults.
Yeah.
Specifically. So when your body is stressed, it's going to prioritize functioning. It's not malfunctioning.
Right, like it doesn't want you to die because you're stopping to be horny. Or like the other thing I feel like is if you're like super horny, then you might not recognize a dangerous person. So if you're in survival mode, that would make sense to then suppress your horny desire so that you're thinking clearly, especially men, because like men are not thinking clearly when they're horny.
Yeah. That actually is a good segue into the next thing we're going to talk about, which is the misattribution of arousal. So this is when your body mistakes arousal for attraction. Have you ever heard that, like, I guess, social conversation about, oh, you should take your date to a scary movie because they'll make you more attracted to them.
I've heard that, like, that's why on shows like The Bachelor and stuff, when they take them on dates, it's these like dangerous situations so that it spikes their adrenaline and then that makes them more attracted to the person.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what is actually happening in that situation is, because your body is responding to this external stimulus in similar ways that your body would respond during a desirable situation, it's like your brain filling in the gaps of like, oh, I must be interested in this person. I must desire or want this person because I have this arousal. But the arousal is actually just the situation that you're in. It's not the person. So if anyone takes you a scary movie on the first date, it's just because they're trying to manipulate.
Yeah, I don't also, I blew a scary fuse, so I don't watch any more scary movies. So sorry. Sorry, ugly guys. You're out of luck.
The other thing we should talk about is that chronic stress is going to obviously matter more in this situation to prevent desire than acute stress.
So then is your like brain chemistry actually changing?
Yeah, it's like because it's longer and it obviously longer stress versus like momentary stress is going to affect you more negatively and affect your arousal a lot more if that continues. That's why if you have chronic stress, go to therapy.
I mean, that makes sense because your brain is then constantly flooded with cortisol and that's all you're flooded with, as opposed to like testosterone, estrogen, all those things.
Yeah.
And then it's just cortisol and estrogen.
Yeah. Oh, right. And then the other things that will affect other health things that will affect you are, of course, sleep, illness, and mental health. So desire requires energy, and energy is a health issue. Sleep deprivation is, I don't know, when I'm tired, I don't want to, that's, I think, a big one. I'm tired. I don't want to do things right now. I'm so tired.
I can't even think when I'm sleep deprived. Right. So like, I feel like that one makes sense. I was actually just having a conversation today about like, yeah, you can't do anything when you're sleep deprived. Like you're going to behave differently. You're going to be cranky. You're going to be able to not think clearly. Actually, I think there was like a fact that I read that like driving while sleep deprived is more dangerous than driving under the influence.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I think that's true.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, don't do either one, but
okay,
that's how bad sleep deprivation is.
Sleep deprivation regulates mood, hormones, attention, and stress. So lack of sleep reduces your patience, it reduces sensation, emotional regulation, and desire drops because your body is exhausted and disinterested.
Right.
Which makes sense. For chronic illness or pain, that also competes with pleasure for some people.
I feel like I should have also added that in when I said that, like, your relationship's in trouble if you're not having sex. Like chronic illness, any illness, even if it's not chronic, just like a temporary illness, that obviously I would be like, okay, that makes sense that you can't have sex right now.
When it comes to chronic illness, it's just have to have someone who like understands, like who can be more patient and understanding. But it can affect your sensory processing, your energy levels, obviously, because you're in pain all the time. And then, of course, mental health obviously can affect this as well. Anxiety obviously keeps your nervous system alert. You're just like always freaking out. So it makes it hard to relax. Makes sense.
Yeah.
As someone that has anxiety, makes sense.
Anxious sex, not as fun.
I think in any situation where my anxiety has peaked, given like a context during sex, it's just like it ruins it immediately.
Right. Well, I can't imagine like if somebody tried to initiate sex when you're having a peak of anxiety. Like I cannot.
Yeah.
That I would be so annoyed and mad.
Right. Yeah. I'd be pissed. I'd be like, why are you touching me?
Right. You insensitive poo-poo face. That's what I was saying.
Depression also reduces motivation, pleasure, and interest, and can flatten desire temporarily or long-term. So these are also good things to note.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like Depression is one that a lot of people maybe have dealt with because it is like a long lasting one. So that I think maybe in relationships, people have experience dealing with lower libidos because of depression.
I remember when I was depressed in college, I've had all the
mental health.
all the mental health. When I was going through depression in college, it was just one of those, like, I didn't have the energy to shower or get out of bed. Like, I was just like,
Yeah.
somehow I managed to go to all my college classes, but I just would be like zonked, like all.
Which is such a bummer because the sex could bring dopamine and you don't get dopamine because you're just sad.
So what's the problem? Up until this point, everything we've talked about lives inside the person, the language, the psychology, health, but none of it suggests there's one normal way to have sex. Self-desire actually works like this. It isn't our bodies, but it's the rules that we built around them. All right, so next we're going to be going into sociology, the ridiculous social rules behind sexual desire. You've already mentioned some of these, so I think it's going to be a really interesting discussion because it's mostly going to just be about like the social scripts that we've learned around desire, attraction, and libido. Desire is socially shaped. It's really influenced by social feedback. Has there ever been like an instance where you were into someone and then like when your friend was like, no, and then you're like, never mind.
Okay, so I have so much to say now. So I have a very close male friend who has told me that, quote unquote, now he doesn't care about this. But in the past, him and his friends have absolutely been influenced by each other's opinion of whether a girl was hot or not. And he even said, like, one of his good friends that's in a committed relationship living with this woman that he's with, he's like, he's only into her because I said she was hot. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, what are men even doing? But I do feel like with women, there has been 2 times where I was with somebody and then after we broke up, my friends were like, you were way out of his league. Like, what were you doing? And I'm like, can I say fuck on here? Okay. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't you tell me that while we were together? But so I feel like I personally know that I have weird taste and like am looking for different things in people. But I also feel like there is some attraction to like somebody that has status, like if they're a professional athlete or something like that, that also.
If they're Pedro Pascal.
If they're Pedro Pascal, like I don't even care if he is gay only. I would still marry him because I love him. So yeah, I mean,
right?
There's rumors. We don't know.
No, I don't think
he could be bi.
I think he's like omnisexual. I think he's attracted to everyone.
Do you think he would be attracted to me?
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you. Because sometimes when I'm like alone driving or whatever I'm doing, I do just like think, would Pedro Pascal want to have sex with me if he met me?
I think so.
I thank you. I like to think so.
Especially because I think you're so funny. I think if you made him laugh,
we would laugh together. We would have a great time.
I think it would be a really like funny, like you guys would laugh so much while having fun.
Yeah, like I would charm my way into his pants. Yeah.
Yeah. The looks, the charm, you got it all.
Yeah, thank you. He wants this. You want this, Pedro?
Yeah.
You can have it.
To your first point, it definitely makes sense for your friend because men care about impressing other men. So for them to make the decision based off if their friend thinks it attractive, it's 100% makes sense to me.
Well, and there's definitely been situations where guys are like, oh my God, she's so hot. And I'm like, who are we? What? Are we looking at the same person? She looks kind of plain. I don't see what they see. So that makes so much more sense to me that they're just like, well, if he thinks she's desirable, then she's desirable. It's like a supply and demand situation.
Right.
There's also the factor of like different types.
Yeah.
So I have a friend that's a woman that has sent me people before, like that she's interested in and been like, is he cute? And even actually my childhood best friend one time, she has a specific type. Like they look like if you put them in a room, like are those guys brothers? Like they're very similar looking. And she dated one guy that didn't look like them. And she was like, is he cute? Like she couldn't tell if it wasn't the same family of men. And so that question has also come up from women. So I might just be the weirdo in that I've never asked my friends, like, do you think he's cute? Like, if I think he's cute, I don't care.
Yeah.
But
more of like, do you think he's a good person?
exactly. Yes. Like, to me, that's where the attraction is. Like, if you're kind and you're sweet, then I'm like, oh, he's super attractive. But I mean, well, he's got to have like straight teeth and stuff too. But like, I'm a little shallow. But I have had friends ask that. And there's been times where I've been like, no, or like, hey, we just don't have the same type, like,
yeah,
things like that. So I guess it is also true for some women too. Because I think, right, like, nobody wants to be like embarrassed by who they're dating or something. Like, I don't know, get nicer friends if you're embarrassed.
Yeah.
Or maybe get a better partner. It could be, it could be either one.
Yeah. Sometimes you just don't find people attractive, and that's okay.
Right. Like, we don't all have to be attracted to the same person.
Just because I don't find your partner attractive doesn't mean you don't find your partner attractive. Letting that influence whether or not you want to date someone is a little weird to me.
Right. Because, like, I'm not going to have sex with your man.
Right.
Like, you do that. I care about how he's treating you as your friend.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I think social approval does matter, but I don't think it's all looks-wise.
And then, like, to me, as somebody dating somebody, rather than the way that they look, I would be much more concerned about how they fit in with my friend group and how they interact with my friend group and, like, people that are important to me. Like, the personality-wise and how they mesh with that would be more important to me than, like, does my friend think he's hot?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. We all learn our own ways of how to want or not want sex. A person's gender, race, class, age, and religion can influence a person's sexual expression, which is understandable, like which we'll talk about in this next slide, the gender double standard. So, and I will also like to preface this when I say women and men in this situation, I am including all women, even trans women, cisgender women, every woman in here. When I talk about gender in this conversation, I'm mostly trying to target the like social conversation. In our society, men are encouraged to experiment and pursue sex more openly than women are. And I think there's that belief, like we mentioned earlier, that men would have higher libidos because of testosterone, but that can not be true because, again, if someone is stressed or if they don't feel emotionally safe, that testosterone isn't going to be the thing that like drives them to still have sex because of those things. Like those things could still be a hindrance for them.
Do you think, because I know this was definitely true when we were kids, do you think it's still that way?
That men are...
That like women are still expected to be more suppressed and pure, and men, it's like, boys will be boys, let them go around and experiment.
I do think so. I think it's more open-minded, but I don't necessarily think the perception is completely gone.
Yeah. I think I maybe have left one genre of people that I was surrounded by against my will and have transitioned to like a more open, free-minded group of people. And so I wondered like if we still do actually think that is still common, I guess, or expected amongst the majority of people. I mean, I guess I think it's safe to say in certain parts of the country that's for sure the case still.
Yeah, and I think there's been a lot more, there's like a reclamation of calling someone a slut. Like, I think when we were in our 20s, it was still looked down upon. If someone's like, oh, she's a slut, it was, you know, it was in a negative connotation. But like, now if someone is like, oh, if someone were to call me a slut, I'd be like, okay, great.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah. That's nice.
Go,
like,
girl.
That's experience. I don't know what you mean. Like,
Right.
So I do think there's...
I want to add something. I also think that there's maybe, like, I'm not a person that needs to know how many partners my partner has had in the past. But, like, I do feel like if a guy came to me and his number was lower than mine, I would feel really uncomfortable telling him that my number was higher. I would just be uncomfortable and like, shit, is this gonna emasculate him if I have a higher number than him?
See, I don't
even have a high number, but I'm just, if I was that.
my concern is like, are they gonna even know what they're doing? Are they gonna, I think me telling someone, if that's, I mean, this situation did happen to me, my concern if they had a lower, I think body count's stupid. If they had less partners than I have, I'm more concerned about them being more open-minded to try things. Like if you're open-minded to try things, but you haven't had that many partners, like that's great.
Right.
Fine, that's great. But if you're like, no, like I only have one partner and like you're judging me, then obviously you're not open-minded and then I steer clear of the person. That I care more about open-mindedness than I do care about like the number of partners a person has.
Yeah, and I don't think women maybe care as much. I don't know because I'm not a man. So I don't know how a man would feel if he were encountering a woman. And I don't know, I guess it would just depend on a case-by-case basis where like, let's say a guy was like, I've had 12 partners and the girl was like, I've had 15. I don't know if that man would have a problem with it just based on the society standards and expectations.
I think the thing that makes a man feel emasculated in that situation is because they're comparing themselves to every man that that person's been with.
That makes sense.
They're insecure about their own capabilities.
Yeah.
It seems to stem from an insecurity. And also it's weird that like guys want to know, like, why do you care so much?
I know more women that want to know.
Oh, really?
Yes. Like, I think it's weird because I'm like, what is it helping? Why are you obsessed with it? But like, I mean, it could be either person. Personally, I just don't see like why it matters so much to people. But in that instance, I would be worried about bringing it up. Like, I feel like I am very open-minded and go girls. But I would feel like if a guy was like, yeah, I've had this many partners. And then I was like, shit. Like, I would have that moment where I feel that hesitation.
Yeah, my hesitation is always just on how they would receive the information I have given them.
Exactly.
Because I think to me that also has been a good gauge on their critical thinking skills. They're not judging me as a person. They're more thinking about like the experiences I've had. On the other hand, women are encouraged to remain pure, which we've talked about in our purity episode, why. So if you want to learn why the idea of purity remains, definitely check out that episode. But I think one of the things I find really funny about that notion is just the fact that like women are expected to remain pure, but also when they're going to have sex, then they're expected to just magically know.
And be great at it.
Yeah. Just magically just know everything about sex and know what to do and how to please your partner.
Well, and it comes back to like women's value being in their virginity, which is weird. And then like somebody has to sleep with men in order for them to get experience. So then it's like, oh, well, those women aren't worthy of marriage. Like it's a gift to be married to men, which it's not. Like you get to take care of a man that can't take care of himself.
Right.
Not all men, but you know, a lot of them.
But another thing is some men also get shamed for not wanting sex.
Yeah, I feel like if a guy were not wanting sex, that I think it would be easy for a woman to lash out at them.
Because they're already expecting like you should automatically want me because of this.
Yeah, and the
social
rejection's gonna
expectation.
sting, so they're gonna be like, something's wrong with you for not wanting me.
I think what's important to note is this isn't about who gets to feel desire, it's about who gets punished for it.
Well, yeah.
And the next slide is about a good point, which everyone should know, expectation versus desire. When people say that men have higher libidos, what they're describing isn't desire, it's expectation. They feel that they are entitled to something from other people. In a lot of Western worlds, men are taught that sex proves your worth or success, access to women's bodies is a reward, and persistence is romantic, and rejection is a challenge, not a boundary. Versus women being taught that sex is something men want from them, desire is dangerous or embarrassing. Their role is to manage men's urges, or saying no requires explanation or justification, which isn't right.
And I feel like there's many deep-seated issues with this, and like we've had like mass shooters do that and, you know, kill all these people and themselves. because they're creeping women out and like women don't want to have sex with them, which is fine that those women don't, but the whole mentality that they're entitled to it and that they have the right to go and like kill people because they haven't gotten laid is insane. But like as a culture, we need to really look at that. And I feel like we're not looking at that, and we need to. That's not okay.
It's really interesting to me that when men get led into like the red pill, the, what is that called?
They get red pilled?
Like when men get red pilled, it's them listening to other men who don't have the things that they want anyway.
Right. Why are you seeking advice from someone who is also an incel? Yeah. That's a really good point. Like maybe find somebody who's had like a crazy amount of sex and listen to them.
Just because you want sex doesn't mean you're owed sex. And that's a very important thing that everyone should know.
Yes. Called consent. And
which we'll do an episode on soon.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird shift that's happened, I guess, because I feel like as a society, we used to kind of, like those people were so isolated, I guess, that we're kind of socially awkward, but they were less of a threat maybe, and now they're like in numbers grouping together thanks to the internet and lashing out at innocent people.
That is the end of the episode.
Oh, that was so fast.
Now it's time for your quiz.
Okay, I'm so scared.
Are you ready?
No, let's do it. I'm gonna cry.
Okay.
I have to keep up my status.
Yeah, valedictorian.
Yeah.
Maybe this will be the first time you get everything right, though.
Okay. Self-proclaimed valedictorian.
Yes. Okay. Question 1. Which of these best describes libido? A, who you're attracted to. B, how aroused your body gets. C, your baseline interest in sex. Or D, how often you have sex.
I feel like you're using different verbiage than we had earlier. Okay. I'm going to say C. Is it B?
It's C.
Yay! Okay.
Good. Great. You're doing great so far.
I'm like sweating right now.
The pressure is on.
That my libido is down because I'm anxious.
Yeah, you have so much anxiety that your libido is...
It's crashed.
Yeah.
It's just done.
All right. Which statement about desire is most accurate? A, desire should show up before anything sexual happens. B, desire is the same for everyone. C, desire should be constant in healthy relationships. Or D, desire can show up after stimulation or connection.
D, desire can show up after stimulation or connection.
That's right.
Yes.
Woo. There's crinkly in the background of the podcast. It's a Winston.
All right. He's unwrapping gifts.
Yeah. Question 3. Which factor most reliably suppresses sexual desire? A, lack of attraction. B, chronic stress. C, aging. Or D, being in a long-term relationship.
Shockingly, not D, it's B, chronic stress.
Yep, you're right. Chronic stress. All right, question 4. When people say men have higher libidos, they're often confusing libido with what? A, testosterone. B, arousal. C, attraction. Or D, expectation.
D, expectation.
That's right.
I'm acing this.
Yes.
Is there more? Because I'm feeling confident and now I'm scared that I'm confident.
One last one.
Okay. We're going to cheat we're going to re-record my answer if I get it wrong.
Which statement summarizes this lesson? Desire is influenced by bodies, brains, and social rules. B, biology determines how much sex people want. C, desire should come naturally if a relationship is good. Or D, wanting sex means something is owed.
Oh, we're summarizing the whole lesson?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say A.
That's right. Desire is influenced by bodies, brains, and social rules.
At first, I thought you were asking which was true, and I was like, there's more than one.
If there's one thing I want you guys to take away from this lesson is that desire is not a test you pass or you fail. When we stop treating it like a moral issue, we can make room for honesty, consent, and better sex, which I want all of you to have. Did you learn anything new?
I feel like I learned a lot because, like I said, my own interpretation of like, or I guess what we use in everyday language of like what libido, desire, and attraction were, it was nice to kind of break it down into different components. And like I said, desire, not obviously we all know what the word means. Like we're not like, what? Never heard that word before. But we really don't use it in everyday conversation. So I feel like it was really nice to have those things broken down quite a bit. And I also learned that libido doesn't mean how high your sex drive is.
Yeah.
I'm going to try really hard not to continue to use it wrong throughout life, but no promises.
I mean, as long as you're conscious of it when you do.
Yeah, I'll do it and then I'll correct
Yeah.
the other person. I'll be like, by the way, that's not what that means.
Right. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you specifically, valedictorian. Look at you, 5 in a row.
I know. God, did everybody see that? It was recorded. We did not cheat. I got it right on my own.
Yeah. This was not edited to make it re-recorded, so she got it right. That's the Bell Class. Have any questions about human sexuality? Submit them to our anonymous form linked in the show notes. Your homework? Share this episode with a friend, because the best way to destigmatize sex is to talk about it. And if you're ready for extra credit, grab our free Essential Sex Conversations workbook by signing up for our newsletter. That's it for today's lesson. So, yay! Class dismissed. Bye!
Bye.